So hello everyone, this is the 8th session of Weekend Workshop, or is it? Yes it is. And okay, Andresi already wrote that, it's okay. So, and finally after a very runful, woeful December, so I wanted to create 3 workshops and none of them were that came along. Actually, I attempted Emeshe as well, and it just didn't work. Oh yeah, I also forgot a modification in this patch. So, so first of all, this is the first of it, and sorry for being very late again. It's kind of very bad at that. So, as you can see, this workshop will be about Emeshe, the rendering engine in a different rendering engine in vvvv, and this very intro is fueled by it as well. And as you can see, it can cooperate very nicely with the instance noodles thingy, which we covered in the first half of December. So yeah. Also, Weekend Workshop received quite some support from Patreon, and I have to look that up already. Also, the noises what you hear in the background is my fiance, who's created some food for me. Yay! So, I will read this shortly during the workshop, probably. Oh, never mind. So, I will just read up the Patreons and start with the thing. Everyone should say hooray for Olga, who created some wonderful meal. Some cheese with tortellini and more cheese. Let us see. Say Patreon. And I hope to load up a bit, right? So there you go. So we've got 3 patrons, and they are, if I can read, Metrowave, Sebeskudi. I don't know who Sebeskudi is on www forum, but very much thanks for him. And also shows Tsemak, who I also don't know who he is on www forum, but it is amazing that there are actual real and existing people paying for this sort of stuff. So yeah, let us deconstruct this thing over here. No, actually I won't do that because I've tried to do that in the previous attempt and it failed miserably, so we will just start from scratch. See if I go back here. That's an empty chat room. That's my Facebook, and here are some patches. Let us start from this one. Oh yeah, before I start, I should also mention how you can get such things. So I'm working from the wait a second, okay, so you can hear me. So I'm working, I can hear myself, so let me just turn that off. Okay, that's so much better. I'll just the headphone as well. And so to get this thing, this is you can get this from GitHub, but the current state of Emeshe, because the state what you have in the contributions is quite outdated. So I will do the link again, and so to do that, just a second, a new window, which I should. So this is my GitHub page, and go here to Emeshe. Now you should not download master, you should download this branch, and I should merge the two together, so that will be done. And also Emeshe depends on vobjects and MCR yes, these two. So I will open this and this one. So with MCR as you can notice, there's a little folder here called pecs, and that thing should be copied. The contents of this should be copied to your pecs folders of vvvv, and Emeshe and objects should be in the same folder as these fellas are. So Emeshe should be inside the pecs folder of MCR pecs. It's multiple pecs. So, it's kind of an early attempt to get working with the. I wanted to say too quickly. It's an early attempt to get working with the package manager thingy, but obviously I didn't have time to develop such thing, and the Nougat package manager, I don't think so that we'll see the light soon for vvvv, not just for VL. That's another topic though. So you should download these. If you just hit the download zip, you should be fine. Also on objects, let me check. You have okay, so it looks like it's the master branch. You should do that. It looks like only compiled x64. Well, use x64. To be honest, if you want to run Emeshe, you basically don't have much options to run it on a CPU, which kind of supports 64-bit. So go ahead and run 64-bit vvvv. It's not an excuse. So this is how you get it. It's not the easiest thing to set it up, and I remember being Mangush very upset about the process that what you should do to set up vvvv and set up Emeshe with vvvv. And I understand him completely. So that's cool. Also, in the GUR power, you don't have to pay attention to the GUR power. It is very tasty, isn't it? So you don't have to pay attention here. None of them works. Basically, it's always very not quite tidy. So you just ignore that. So in this very case, we some nice. Everyone tunes in. I also lost the ability to watch on Twitch. Did I? Yes, I closed twitch.tv. So let's get to the action, shall we then? So first of all, I will publish a pre-made vvvv after the workshop, because I just arrived home like half an hour ago, and I didn't have time to prepare those, and I'm not really the person of precautions, I know. So those, because I can't really think for future things, which is not a healthy behavior, but there you go. So let us close the intro, because I don't need this anymore. Now let's save everything. Save this as well. And so there's a vvvv, there will be a vvvv, and some patches which might get you on running. And we have a walking Astro Boy here for some. Oh yeah, I know why. Okay, so they should start this up. Should be something until that happens. We'll have some bites. These are indeed delicious. Also, Andres says, I don't know if you can see Andres, there's some problems with the upstream. So, is it alright with everybody else? You can, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be much people using the chat. I also can check it maybe. It really sucks without the second monitor though. 3 people watching is amazing. Oh, oh yeah, you have quality options or something? Oh, no, never mind. Okay, I just close this. So, as you can see, I already this was the last stage of the failed workshop here. So let's recover from where we left off. No, we shouldn't really do that. We just we started over again, I guess. So in Emeshe, there are 4 phases. Oh, wait a second. 3 phases of things what you can do. Obviously, that's kind of. It's not specific to Emeshe, that's kind of specific to any kind of graphics pipeline what you should develop. So it's the first phase is geometry, obviously, the second phase is forward rendering, and the third phase is post-processing. Now, there's nothing, I should tell you nothing new, but I should tell you this, that Emeshe kind of works in these spaces, and this will be like realized during I will use these terms during the workshop a lot. So let's start a little bit with the post-processing, just to show you the basics of the post-processing, what the forward rendering outputs, and then I will immediately jump to forward rendering. So sorry about the crackling. Just a second. I should open a preview. So what the MRE, so this is MRE node. So this name is dubbed because it was based on the very famous MRE original renderer on DirectX 9, which I made a mod of in DirectX 9 again. And the second iteration, so that the second iteration on DirectX 11. The MRE MD mod 2 was kind of still based on that, and now Emeshe is completely a different thing. It's not too compatible with each other, but principles are kind of the same. So the MRE node spits out G-buffer basically, and just to pack together. So this one includes it spits out the color texture obviously, but that is included in the G-buffer as well. It's just split here to your convenience, and split also that buffer, which is also included in G-buffer, but that is also for your convenience. Also the semantics which will be used during the post-processing, and the pack together camera, which is like just a bridge between this kind of traditional interpretation, the traditional form of getting the camera into the renderer, and then the and then just pack together for Emeshe nodes. I want to change this for the camera object of Wacom though, so expect such a change. So here, this is what the main MRE node spits out, and this is just the diffuse color without any kind of lighting. Normals, view normals, and this is kind of special. This is projected velocity plus the UV coordinates. So that's why you see these weird lights over here. Weird colors, and there I can't really show you this because this is just materials and such. There won't be anything. And then this one is depth tensor, which I also can't really visualize. with just a pure preview. I can also visualize it with such a special node called view meta, and I will also show you how post processes work on Emeshe. So you have to make custom semantics and resource semantics visible in the inspector if you want to work with pure texture effects. Obviously MRE nodes, Emeshe nodes like custom semantics or resource semantics, like BookTorrents here, includes the custom and resource semantics pins, so you don't have to expose that in inspector. So that's exposed. I will just do this, and then here, and then just set the resolution. So here I can see the UV mapping as this without any kind of without the velocity component, and you can see the velocity by itself, so it's just the camera movement, so it shouldn't be too distinguishable. Objects shouldn't be too distinguishable from themselves. Material ID of the objects with color distinguishing, so this is not the actual, this is the colors are for only visualization. Maybe you can use less regular divisor kind of thing, so won't overlap too much. So yeah, and then object ID, which is not used by Emeshe on its own most of the time. You can use it in your application if you want to distinguish objects separately, not by the material ID, but some more unified theme or your own system. So you can assign an object ID, and you can assign post effects based on that object ID. So there's a function in the IHLSA you can get that and process it, but that's a little bit ahead of the current state. So that's what MRE node spits out. It actually has 3 render targets, and it compresses all of those information into 3 of these. As you can see here, it's explained here, and so it's explained here. Just my fiance asked her that is she visible, and I said not. She's not.
You're visible, yes.
And so the layer I have to write such thing. I will explain that further on. Here the inputs are, so this should be layer, obviously, the resolution, because this one spits out the render target, so surprise, surprise. And have a view camera projection aspect ratios, nothing unfamiliar yet. You have auto aspect ratios just for your conform table. Yeah, that's just for your convenience. And this node here is not working. I will probably remove it. I will remove everything from that. Because this one was just an attempt to do a custom depth writing thingy, but that requires a lot of stuff. That requires a thing which slows down rendering, namely to writing to the depth buffer from pixel shader. You have join object ID, so you can assign either, if you don't turn this on, you can assign one object ID to one pixel, and that you can have it up to 65,000 and whatnot, because of the 6 Yeah, because it's a 16 bits. How is it? Wait a second. Oh yeah, because it's a 16-bit number, and this one is 16-bit int because it is grouped together in an unsigned integer. So it is just yeah, the bits are there. So and then you have two join. You can have two object IDs. If you turn this on, you can have two object IDs per pixel, which means both object IDs should cover 8 bits. That also means you can only have an object ID up to 256. So that is object ID. You have a materials buffer here, which is only there to join together the semantics. And then enable calculating normals is that if you have dodgy normals on the layers, you can enable this. And then if you add the material to it, a special material called calculate normals, then it can calculate a per pixel based normal on it. But it will eat performance, so be careful with it. Also the queries here, depth query, depth query, what am I talking about? It's then target query. Here you can see the Vocam, so you should be familiar with this. I think it is covered in MCR OPAC workshop. That was the 4th one, if I can remember well. Yes, and also there are a couple of things here. So this is material buffer. Here is the node which serves you the material managing. This is basically a material managing service. It will convert your the object system what we have for materials into GPU readable form, and same for point buffer. There's a light buffer, so this is a point light buffer, as you can see here, which provide us that single point light what we also have here. So this is a little bit out of time, so we just turn this off here. So in scene, also as you can notice, we have a couple of generic subpatches like scene. Okay, like sorry about that. Actually, I have a slow internet connection as well, a dodgy one, so I know what you're experiencing. So that is, here we have the compositing, self-explanatory. So the scene, inside the scene, I recommend you to have separate parts of the scene in separate subpatches so it won't be cluttered. We only have one yet, we will have multiple. So here's sponsor, which is like inside assets, so you can already try it out. And in here I will have we will load the model, obviously, and here we have a join geometry. Now notice that this model has 393 subsets or objects together, and this is insane. I mean, if I would connect it, it's just, there you go. So this is insane. So I would connect it together. It would initiate that many draw calls, and yeah, that's just, you can optimize it like hell, a lot of this. So this is static geometry, so I can guarantee nothing will change on it. And even the transformation change, I can do that here, or even I can do such thing in skinning, as you will see in the short term. So this join geometry here. This is, by the way, part of MC. A lot of specs which are helping our Emeshe, or a little bit more general purpose than Emeshe, is in MCR OPEX. So that's why that's why Emeshe is depending so much on MCROPEG. So here you have to define a count, so the total vertex count of the whole scene, what you want to filter, and then you can turn on and off features of the geometry. Here we have a texture. That's a special one. But here we have a texture router. This is just a special version for normals. And oh yeah, the reason is because I have a normal map here, but I want to do a more generic purpose, so you can have your own effect on the thing, maybe later on. So in here, in texture router, this just collects the texture coming from the async material, and it will create us a texture array for our joint geometry. As you can see, the version of the node is to merged. It's merged geometry or joint geometry. I wasn't too consistent. I'm looking at this food and I haven't bitten it yet. And she's very good, very good. And I will probably have some break and eat it. So what else? And yeah, you can select texture type here, so the type of the material, what you want to collect up, and then do the texture, connect the texture array to this node. This is the vveekend base. This is like a special version of the basic one. And you can say, but David, why won't you start with that? Because I'm not so prepared. So this is the basic version, and then this is a special one which does not really contain too much parameters, which can be defined for instance, which is meaningfully defined for per instance or per subset or per object basis. So it's like I'll bump amount. It doesn't really have that here in the pin. You have to specify it in this node, which provides you a buffer, which will help you with instancing inside Emeshe. So instancing also is supported right away in Emeshe. You don't have to do anything with shaders or bitnits if you want to do simple instancing or simple subsetting in geometries. So how is this achieved? That the 393 geometries is put into one, is actually just join them together with the stream out renderer, and then assign a subset ID to them, so they will become like subsets of the geometry, of a mega geometry. So and based on that subset ID which the shader reads, I can assign that which texture it should read, which is very interesting. Oh yeah, because which texture it should read, which is a 4D vector to read, so which diffuse texture it should read, which normal texture it should read, which depth texture, and which displays for tessellation variation. So you have, oh yeah, and also you can turn on or off the expected geometry features. So texture coordinates are optional here, whereas in the constant, so whereas the built-in constant will start to bitch about it, whereas where are the texture coordinates? So if you don't have texture coordinates for some reason, you can still use in Emeshe. Obviously you have to like do triplanar projection and things like this, which is also supported here. Well, it's not in this node particular, but in the basic node. So you get nice little patterns, See the texture coordinates. It is a velocity from geometry. You will see what it is. It is basically just generates velocity values from a moving geometry. Well, not generated. It just expects to expects the geometry to have that kind of value. And also here's normal mapping toggle, which expects the geometry to have tangent vectors, so it can do all the jazz. Here are the diffuse texture array, simpler. Bump map is optional. It's only if you want to write it to the bump details into the dead buffer. It can it will slow down rendering though. And there's a normal map. Subset ID from geomfx is basically just tells Emeshe shader that the geometry have subset ID and deal with it. The subset parameters, or in other words, on the base node, the per instance parameters is basically just these but yeah, basically the basic parameters like color, texture transform, word transform, diffuse color, diffuse amount, the velocity gains, like how much the multiplier should multiply for the motion blur, the bump amount, the more normal map amount, basically the same. The material ID of the object. As you can see, I can immediately derive from the material index of ASIM, and I can specify both optional object IDs here, and then the enabled pin to write to the buffer, and this will give us a structured buffer with a static structure, so that's cool. And also the properties render state and yeah, that's okay with this. This is n here, and then the properties render state is again on the forward layer node. So here you can see the render state and properties render state, and also you can see something like this one is the second layer output of this node. So these two are different in a way that the prop layer, properties layer, does not really write color information or anything. It just writes, I think it just writes distance to the camera, because it is used for the shadows mostly. It can be used for more different things, but you want to have a view on the world. When you want to have the view on the scene coordinates, the scene description, not color wise, but on geometry wise, from a different angle, from different camera angle, and you want to have that in lighting or shadows, for example, for shadow maps, which is basically the same. You simulate the camera on the place of lighting, and then you compare the camera, the geometry, but you can get from that view to the actual camera view, and then you assume that you assume which parts of the shade, which parts are say shaded or not. So that is prop layer, so that is properties layer out, and you have all the layer out pins for both of them. And also you notice these defines output pin here. So here in Emeshe works in a way that most of the features, most of the optional stuffs or optional choices are created with the defined mechanism. So it looks for string in this pin, the defines pin, and if it is there and it has a value assigned to it, like has text coordinate, has text codes equals 1, it won't care about the value mostly. This kind of feature defines or feature toggles. It won't care about the value. It will just care about if it is defined or not. And if it's not defined, then it will do something else, do some magic to get the geometry ID based on the subset count, a subset vertex count. So that's what it does. And yup. So there we have the forward rendering basics covered. And also I will cover this in I will cover the materials as well, to be honest, because that's also a little bit new to what you've probably seen so far. I mean, if you're not using Emeshe or not inside rendering too much, you don't really see this. Maybe if you are in physics, you've seen this, but actually, Objects is there for like a year, so I don't want to say this. This is like Objects' way of doing things. And oh, sorry, yeah, I don't know what I had said. Okay. So here we're defining the materials from the async node, and here we're creating and constructing it to a dictionary, a material dictionary, which is provided from here via a send node, and with the 25 materials, I can define different value here if I spread this node with those different values. So this is only defining your cook tolerance lighting here. And yeah, with point lights and compositing. So I will have a little break so you guys can process what I've just said. I don't know what the fuck to say. So what I just said. Meanwhile, I will eat this delicious meal, and I will be back just a second.
Time to take your pick from that scrumptious array of tasty treats waiting for you at the snack bar.
It's back on. So I'll come back again because I've been saying that because I started recording, and remove this. Yeah. So now that I broke this thing into half, more. Yeah, we covered the important part of this very much. So we have a static scene here. There's nobody interested in this. Yeah, it's just nothing cool. Oh yeah, I also want to mention though with the merge geometry. So here you have this enabled pin. This should be turned off. If you just enable it all the time, first of all it will reload. And second of all, it will just not worth it. And you will still have the 393 draw cores for every frame. So it's not really healthy to do. So at some point, it's only worth it when you just turn it off. So you enable it for a couple of frames because it needs. So you have to wait to load the textures. But when they are done, you can completely disable this thing. So you can create a little loading screen as well. So let me adjust some position. There you go. Okay. So after this, so that's the thing I wanted to mention. So forward part is ready. Now we move towards the compositing. So I don't think so that I will go into much details with the materials. However, I will cover the effects. So first of all, The very basic setup is lighting is a post effect. Here, as you can see, it's a point light, and I can create multiple of these. I set circular spread, and and in case of materials, as I mentioned earlier, you have to use IDs, and here in the material manager you distinguish the materials with an integer ID. However, with lights we don't need to restrict ourselves to just integers, so we can have full strings, but because we don't have a complex lighting system here, I will just use a format value and then just directly connect that value here. So this will be just the value represented by an ID. So we'll create 30 lights, and we'll do the business here. And connect it to position. So now with this, let's raise it. This is the range of 100. I don't really believe this thing. Oh, actually it is. So that's how big our model is. I don't have the strength of 2. And obviously want to spread it out. And the reason why we can't see the 30 lights is that we should add them. If it's a roll. Oh yeah. Other reason why we can't see the 30 lights is that here we have to specify the light count in the shader as well. We'll probably just optimize it to just receive the light buffer in this one. And why is it 0 lights? Oh, I still don't get it. Live fixing. -1. Now we're getting, there we go. Okay, let's fix it. Alright, I have to push that. I don't know how it was working right before. So in this very case, I have to do this and count that string, count that. Put it there. Now you can see everything is overshined. Everything is bright. Now you can see my graphics card is actually warmed up. As you can see, some blue stuff appeared here. That means we have a workload. We have extra workload because I have to process those 30 lights per pixel. I mean, it won't process every pixel, it will just do first a distance check. That's alright. We'd have to do further things. So, yeah. So as you can notice, I have a couple of problems visualizing my lights though, so I will do that with I think I forgot how. Oh, there you go. So there's a node called point light sphere, which enables us to visualize or point lights without any effort. So point light dictionary, and radius is alright. You can filter it if you want. Contains real ID. I will be specific on that. Just enable it, and it didn't do anything. I wonder why. Oh, mate. This is awkward, maybe because of material. No, I don't think so. It just doesn't render. It's not turned on. This is not turned on. Oh, Jesus. It says okay, everything is okay, yeah. We should see some spheres here. And I wonder why I can't see it. It's very, very interesting, so I will fix that. So yeah, I just have to imagine that. I'm very, very curious. Let's check that. Not even seeing that. So something must receive a nil. And I'm not sure what. Nothing receives a nil. Nothing special is turned on. It's not displaying. Or maybe because it was blending in with the black thing. No, not at all. Not at all. Just to make sure. Nope. Nopey, nope. colors, right? Maybe we could this is so much crazy. That I can't see it over here now. Oh yeah, you obviously lose this, so you have to reload every time if you disable it or disconnect it. It's a point light's visualization. It looks like it does not work for some mysterious and annoying reason. That's VVV for you. It looks like amazing stuff. Back to our missleep. I don't know. So let's make it nice. Like it's 100. Cool. Have a little bit of more strength. And so here's the strength. Oh, here's the strength. Here's the strength. Oops. Okay, and then like lighting in the corridor, which will go whoosh, and you can attach another photo to this. Blazing fast, just like 10 seconds. So nice. Only limitation with such thing is that you won't get shadows with 30 lights. You have to kind of make a more complicated system, which I don't really want to make your heads explode with. So what I will do, I will just make it 3 very big lights. I have 3 of them because we haven't cleared thing. So because we haven't cleared the buffer, there are some empty lights, I presume. So clear the buffer and run it again. And there you have a very dark scene. So you can set up the strings very much higher, so 2. And the reason I will go for 3 is that we'll do spotlights for the upper levels, and I also want to keep my point light shadows as low as possible. So the thing is, as you can see, that specular is not really realistic yet, and there are a couple of methods, but you can fix this. So first of all, raise the roughness a little bit. You will get a little more rocky color, and also as you can notice here, we have a composite light texture effects here. So that task is that you have a cool tolerance node here, and that's the lighting chain or lighting system. You can chain up light, A lighting system works in a special way. It uses 3 textures, 3-part render target, and it's a multiple render target, and that 3 separates the specular, the diffuse light, the specular light, and the subsurface scattering. So, and in the composite light, you can modify the relations of this light with what you get, with each other. So, for instance, if I turn up specular multiply, the specular map will have more. So you want the specular map, specular component of the light will be multiplied with the diffuse as well. And this is good for surfaces with crackles, so crackles won't disappear mysteriously when the specular light overshines magically. So, but to be honest, there are so this method here is only working for simple scenes. So you have to create. So if you want more objects, more materials to react, composite its light different ways. You don't do this. So you don't really do this. You will add light compositing. So this is a material node, or the material feature node, because this is the material and this is just a feature of that. And we will say add, and you immediately see some changes. And you can now influence those from this bar. So you don't have to go to the effect to influence that thing. And same goes to subsurface scattering, which you will see shortly. So Cook Torrents is actually broken up, the lighting model is broken up into 4 materials, as you can see here. And that's also takes into account the subsurface scattering. This is not actual subsurface scattering, this is like a fake one, so hence the name, fake subsurface scattering. And you will see what it does in a moment. There you go. So it adds. We'll stop the circling lights just to show what's here. Oh, come on. Yeah, here you go. So as you can see, it tries to do something like subsurface scattering, but it's not the same. Obviously, it doesn't take the actual thickness of the object into account and things like that. So where was I? Here was I. But as you can see, I can change the color of it. And even I can use this fake subsurface scattering to create some mood. For example, for this one, create a little bit of tone to the light and a little bit of fake global illumination. The look, it's obviously very far away from that, but yeah, that's it. And also power is taking into the light distance into account, so it's like shines over time. You can maybe use this instead of instead of ambient occlusion. No, sorry, instead of ambient light, ambient occlusion is a different thing. We'll cover that as well. So that and thickness is kind of just an amount, which is basically just multiplied by this. So that's a little bit redundant. I will merge that probably. Attenuation is mostly like the attenuation of Phong and what you get in Phong, and also the Phong point. And also, if you have a map, a thickness map, you can apply it here, and then a map ID. Now, as you could notice though, that this is done in the post process, and there's a little bit of hack around that as well. So how do we create maps? How do we assign the maps to the individual materials of these shaders? So when you turn on, when a feature of the material has a map, or can be assigned a texture map to, you see this turn this map on, and it has a map ID, and it will tell the shader, the pixel shader, which texture slice it should look for in the map. So like so here we have the rough maps of hook torrents or the subsurface scattering maps, and the rim maps. I will talk to rim lights. The rim lights are just a bit of stylizing addition. So in here you have to create a texture array. So we can do that here right away. Sorry, set slice. You have two ways to do it, using the built-in one or mine. The built-in one cannot, I think the last time I checked, it couldn't write multiple slices at once. Maybe it's changed now, but I can guarantee you that mine can do that, because it is just a broken out patch, which is also way much slower, I presume, than the plugin, but has a little bit more features. So texture, actually this is way enough. And also the disadvantage of such practice is that all of the textures kind of have to share the same size. No, well, they will return to the same size. They will return to the same slices. So even if you have a smaller texture, like a 30 times 30 with a bit of texture, it have to be stretched or to higher resolution slice if you want to share the same texture. If you want to write the same texture into this p-plane with other slices. So, yup, that's a disadvantage. However, if you turn it join all on and write, you can do this off in cases where you don't want to write. Then it will just join the slices of textures into one texture array. So you can do that here as a map, and then cons the textures together what you want to use. Texture 2D, there you go. So I don't have subsurface scattering maps for these models. I don't have the patience to do that myself, and that's what asset manufacturers are very much better at doing it. Yep. And so I will leave this kind of bits to them. Also, compositing supports such a texture as well. So the first channel will influence the diffuse amount. The second channel will influence the specular amount. The third channel will influence the subsurface scattering amount, and then the fourth channel, like the alpha, will. I think it might influence opacity. Well, sorry, the boy might not, and yeah, it doesn't do that. So yep, it doesn't do that, but it would be nice. Maybe I will implement it if I really need that. So here's this subsurface scattering and texture mapping on post effects. I will also demonstrate that with again too quickly. I will also demonstrate that with the sponsor textures, because that has specular. Most of them has speculars. So the next was rim lights. It's just a fake rim light. You can use this feather to stylize a little bit and dampen a little bit the thing. If you add this, as you can notice, it creates that layer of lighting, and it will always look like this. So it's good for hairs, for example, headlines, and obviously it's a little bit of overdoing things. And also the power influences the mount here, and then the width influences how wide the light should bleed from the back or something like that. I don't know what's the correct definition for the phenomena. I was satisfied with on 3 and then and also yeah, you can do a little bit of stylizing with these. You can use only rim light if you want. So that's the thing what you could do with that. And that is about the lighting part. I mean, except shadows, we will cover that a little bit later. So as you can see, our scene is quite dull yet. It doesn't have too much, but it has very sharp edges and such. So we will introduce an ambient occlusion to that. You have 2 ambient occlusions, and I want to get rid of one, so I will show you only the one which I don't want to get rid of. So this is the SSL-AO, which is like screen space local ambient occlusion, and we have a nice module for that. Also, we add the resources here, there and there, and you will see it in action right away. So as you can see immediately, or seeing got slightly more realistic. And usually what I do is that I will do a little bit smaller sample size, like this, have lower intensity, the gamma though. Oh, actually, I will make it a little bit higher. I will do that. Oh yeah, there. So and I will increase speed a little bit on my camera. Transition speeds 40. Rotation 1. There you go. Nice. So here the sample size. Let's turn it a little bit down. So this will be your high frequency ambient occlusion, and also assign a little bit less blur on it maybe, and I don't have to use that much more or less blur. And if I duplicate this, do it again, and with much higher sample size, 3.5 maybe, with higher intensity, and also gamma is alright. A little bit more blur, 2 plus blur, nice. So that will do us, it will create us a nice nice ambient occlusion, as you could see. So this is the high frequency one. This is the low frequency one. Maybe the low frequency is a little bit overdone. We can adjust that. So as you can see, your GPU is currently crazy about the stuff happening as well. Span up a little bit. So that's what you have for simple lights. And I also want to go back here. Cool. And I should try to demonstrate the roughness map. So the roughness map is so in Coke Torrents you can see is specular roughness map, and here you can set the map ID. So as we have the material here, and we can just say that I want to load all the textures that requires a little bit more thinking. So maybe I want to load all the materials first, which has this texture. Yes. And I think that's what I've written texture router for. Yes, indeed. So I still have to. Oh yeah. So that is material-wise. Probably a little node, so I actually didn't try it yet to use it from here, so that's why I will do that from here. to merged. I will create. Oh wait. The original. Do we have that in the original? Texture router. Nothing. Advanced. Yes, absolutely. I have that. Amazing. So in that very case, notice that everything turned red. Just reinitiate the material nodes. Will be fine. Anyway, and if we connect this and then the path. There you go. And then I'm searching for what was this? Ambient, maybe? What's the second one? I remember there were like specular maps for this model. Bump diff bump, which is not defined here, no. It's annoying. That is not good. No. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so it's not written to the material of the model, which is unfortunate. Which is quite unfortunate. I don't really want load 25 textures. Jesus. So I will demonstrate that after this workshop is done, and in the patch what I will show you, but yeah, I won't do this under the works or during the workshop. No. So I won't demonstrate this now. Actually, to be honest, I will demonstrate some of that. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the floor. Which slice is the floor? Scene Explorer. Okay, that's amazing. Look at the naming. Look at that naming. It's like, you know what, fuck him. Okay, I want. Okay, it won't be visible which object is of follower. So I have to do it in the wrong way, which is like set slice color this instead of complete white. Yes, let's count that, and then also just start off into do that. Yeah, this is very rude method, but when you don't have a right model names, this is kind of the each things what you have to do. So the first floor is number 17. We will note this, and then the second floor. Jesus. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Hey. That too. This is ridiculous. So, fortunately, I don't have to do this anymore. And then I will turn the lights back on. And then with this two, I will create a little bit in vvv. Mangling. That. Select. Oh no, I actually, first I will just turn these on. Select value. And then count of this. There you go. In theory, I'll just turn it on. Look, no changes because I haven't set any texture there, and texture. I haven't connected any texture to the cook torrents. I will do that. You can connect a regular texture. It will just read as a 1D texture array, which is specular. When we will have more scenes, we will join them into texture array, but for now it is alright. Sorry again. So we copy this. Paste it here, and actually I will manage it from outside and put it here, rough maps. So as you can see, not much changes because I haven't connected it yet. And there are still not much changes because of reasons. Oh yes, because now that's how specular works. Forgot to mention. So for roughness, it reads the alpha channel of a texture, which is still not working for some reason. Then I turn on the oh no, yes, oh no, oh, shit. Obviously it's not working because I was not selecting the material, I was selecting the object. Silly me. So what I need to do is not this. Oh, actually this is cool, but this I have to do an equal sign and check this to an integer to see whether the object has yup. So so again, back to this. The compositing, so we can see our model 2, and where was my sponsor? If I yep, oh, that's cool, it's already there. So okay, now we're talking, and there you go. We don't have to turn on multiple ones, we only have to turn on one. That is material number 8. And yep, I have to do this, and then 25 is right, and zeros, and this. Cool. So what is written here? I have no idea how many people are watching this. Probably somewhere between 0 and 10. I guess it is more likely to be closer to 0. So yeah. I'll turn the light back on. There you go. There is our roughness mapping over here. If I turn colors back onto normal, for some reason defaults to green. Maybe it was and you can see here we have wrapping is so yeah, the texture wrapping is simple wrap, so it will repeat the texture of it. And to mimic, so first of all, diffuse texture is a diffuse texture coming from the forward rendering is defaulting to mirror wraps. To avoid that, because this model is built with simple wraps in mind, not mirror wraps. So we can conform to that thing, and then here for the shaders we can have a couple of options for writing the texture coordinates, writing the UV coordinates, and this option with the wrapping or the addressing, when it comes to over addressing textures, like addresses below or above 1, you can choose what it should write. Should it write the raw texture coordinates, so it's unlimited? Should it do mirror? Should it wrap it around every time? Should it clamp it as the default of the shader? If you set it unlimited, it will follow what you define at the post effects shader. So that's post effect wise. If you mirror it, then it will do such thing like this. So this is a little bit nicer for us for now. Obviously, for a more proper texture, we can have we can have the wrap on the mirror, and if we want to change the range of the of the texture. Unfortunately, currently there's not really a way to do that. That might change in the future though. Yeah, I think it will change in the future, definitely. But for now, because that's quite annoying, you have to apply your own operation. Your own weight in the operation on the texture, in the texture effects, or in the texture effects you're writing specifically for this purpose. Or if you're using a pre-baked, predefined texture from file and your 3D exporter actually writes it correctly, then you don't have to do this. You have to only start the set. You have to only do this. And also the reason why you have to put the roughness map into the alpha channel, that you can specify the RGB, the color of the actual specular map here, so you can create like this oily effect. Actually, you can say that. Oh, you can't say plasma is not an animatable noise, I'm afraid, but you can set the color of your specular map in texture. So where was I? Oh yeah, with the, so multiply by 0.5, the 0.5 to it. You can follow and preview what is happening as well. As you can see, if you don't want to go into the very, very glossy territory, maybe have some power, so you get more glossy or more diffuse. Clamp 0, clamp 1 is basically, so you can go into minus values. I think these are clamped in the shader, so nothing will happen with the minus values, I guess. And as of say, so you can have this. So by in the future there will be a from to map next to from and to value next to these pins, so you don't have to hack around like this over here too much. So that's for the, I think we covered basic lighting enough. Now I can introduce shadows. Now let's oversize our lighting a little bit, and 0.5, no, what is it? Where are my lights? Oh, let's oversize it. Select the range of 300. Everything is lit up nicely, nice and dandy. Our floor has strange speculars, and let's create our shadows, shall we? So yeah, I will do that in compositing. Point shadows. So what I recommend you to do with shadow maps is using this node, shadow map, some type of light dictionary, because with that you can assign a specific. You can only use the title of the light, and you don't have to care about that too much. So in our case, we want to do a shadow map for each light, and there's a quite annoying limitation that you can't do multiple shadow maps at one node. So you can't create a shadow map for multiple slices or multiple lights in a single node. You have to create a shadow map node for every light what you have there. So I will also specify what the difference is between the cube map size and the panorama size or panel size, and high precision. So we will have that, save all, and where is it? Oh no. So we have to connect the properties layer of this our scene. Should output this. There. There. And it should come here. High precision, far plane, tunnel size, filter. So this is a cube map, this is a shadow map, line object, it's amazing shadow map. And let's delete this. We'll also join this into texture array. So 1. So because I have 3 lights, I will have to create 3 of these. 0, 1, and 2. And 3 lights over here. That and that. Also set slice texture 2D. This is it. Save all. Now for point lights, you will see what kind of performance drop we will experience, because with point lights you have to render. For single point light, you have to render your scene 6 times. It's even worse when you have multiple of those. In this very case, you have to render your scene extra 15 times. And we will try to do that. Save all. Inside compositing, I will connect to shadow maps. Save all. Inside lights, I have to specify our shadow map center, which is the same here, and I also have to specify the shadow map ID, which is by the way the same as its name, so that's very convenient for us at this point. We might want to apply a friendly layer as well here, because we are kind of using off-grid things, and we already have a little bit of performance drop here. I hope it's alright. So will be alright. So, oh yeah, because it's rendering the scene now multiple times. Now, in theory, the only thing I have to do is turn on shadows. As you notice, if I turn this on, it will stuck. It will be stuck for a little. And the reason is that it have to recompile the cooktolerance post effect shader with a define part. So this thing controls a define under the hood, much like as I was explaining it earlier. However, as you can see, you don't have the shadows yet, because also there's a little switch on the light and enable shadows. Now we have some problems, and that is, oh Jesus, I kind of lost orientation already. And that is very weird. Oh, I know why I would get this result, and the reason I'm getting, no, I should get the correct results, because I'm specifying here. I don't have such type object. So strange. So again, so I'm not getting any objects out of this, and that is weird. Ah, yes, of course I'm not getting any objects because I am not connecting the dictionary to this thing. If I can just so live dictionary, then there you go. There you have it. So as you can see now, it's alright. As you can also see, it hit 20 FPS, which is absolutely not good. So I will switch to half HD, and that did correct some situations. So here we have the shadows. Those are variable penumbra shadows, as you might can see, and the size of the penumbra. So there are some notes and there are some limitations with these things. So first of all, the size of the penumbra will cause some artifacts, or will make artifacts pretty visible. So if why I can't raise it there, I guess if I raise this, as you can see, some searching patterns will be quite interesting, and there will be light bleeding all over the place. And also notice there is some shadow bleeding over here. And the reason is mostly it can be the resolution of the shadow maps. We'll wait for that. So the resolution of the shadow map, and I can change it. Where is it? Yeah, because you can see there's a lot of. There's a lot of patches over here. Let's punch it out. So if I change the resolution of the cube map. 24, 1024, 12. It's much better. 1024 here. You can fix a little bit the situation here, or in CookTorrents, actually CookTorrents has a lot of hidden nodes, hidden pins, and the reason is it might contain it contains default values which should only be changed in certain situations, and one certain situation is when the shadow is turned on and you want to define a custom shadow bias. And as you can see, with the shadow bias I can get rid of shadow bleeding artifacts, but I can also skip certain shadows, so I definitely don't want to do that. So this is always a little bit of dilemma here. I can allow myself some bleeding here to simulate like rough surface, and so you can increase or decrease the shadow noise. So if I decrease the shadow noise, as you can see, I have to set a little bit lower bias. Let's increase it to 1, and I can also set base shadow offset, so my penumbra becomes infinitely sharp, or becomes very sharp on these edges. But obviously this kind of it kind of doesn't look too good. So I can, if I turn on the penumbra, I can show what that was. So I will turn on the penumbra. As you can see, the variable penumbra size. So it's cool. 0.9. Actually, I will use a 1.7, and I will change the again. So I will change the base shadow softness a little bit less harsh, so it doesn't have that ugly sharp edges. And here you can use mask and some contribution to the shadow bias if you're using it, as you can see and as you can understand. You might get rid of. It will automatically adjust the bias to the base shadow softness, but if you're not changing the shadow softness much, then the zero value of the base softness bias contribution is alright. So alright, let's make it a little bit nicer. Project wise, post process wise. Oh yeah, and also we were concentrating on quite close objects, but look at here what ugly artifacts what we have. It's pretty ugly, so we have to fix that. And unfortunately we can't use such low shadow bias, I'm afraid. So we have to and oh, look at that. It's a mess. Well, or you will try to leave it that way. You can definitely fix or well, repair a little bit on the situation if you use a higher resolution shadow map. But you know, look at this mess around here. So it's already not too much FPS you can work with. So and we haven't even turned on special effects, and I'm wondering why is this low though. Anyhow, so let's make it a little bit nicer, and I will go into further details over that. So let's cover a little bit like post efforts, like camera effects. So we have to make it look more realistic. We have the tone mapping, the module of tone mapping, and the defaults of that is already cool, and the defaults of that is already making sense. It's a little bit brighter though it's a little bit brighter though. So here the tone mapping technique is copying the Uncharted 2 what Uncharted 2 game had, but we have a couple other algorithms over here as well. Probably I will differentiate. I will copy them into different versions of tone mapping. But for now, just stick with this. And so yeah, where is auto exposure? So there, and how you can have auto exposure sensitivity. And with this, fine. What is that? Whoa, Jesus. Something very weird with the what is this black thing here? Huh. Ah. This is called by the shadows? Nope, it's not caused by the shadows. Not by the SSIO. Like this. By the lighting. Whoa. Oh, wow. Something is utterly wrong here. Oh, Jesus. Alright, we'll just leave it as for this workshop and then I will fix this. Oh, Jesus. Never mind. So, that is very weird. We have that. And this is very annoying. suspect what the reason it can, what this could cause it. But it's, I thought I fixed that earlier. Nah. It's very, very annoying. Developing is a stressful job, especially when we have to. Let's restart, shall we? And let's try if it will be faster or it will fix itself. Have you turned it on and off again? Off and on again? Let's also check on OBS. It's still recording. Amazing. Let's unload the sponsor. There we go. No, the FPS is even slightly worse. Oh Jesus! Oh yes, because it's worse. We forgot to turn the cache on, and we still have the header. Obviously, I kinda suspected that the simple restart won't fix such a huge issue there in this area. Okay. Obviously, these things should be discovered while I'm demoing this. Amazing. Is it this offset? I have absolutely no idea. It's not caused by shadows. So we have tone mapping. Can do that. Tone map the tone. Also for tech-savvy guys, or there we have a visualization thing. So it shows the curvature of the exposure what we have. So we can have that. And also the average value texture. So we can have nice animated exposure changes. I know what discovered that. Alright, there we go. When the shadows turned out to be nicer. Woof! That's a received value of resolution. The problem was that I connected the resolution pin. When I changed from Full HD to Half HD, then I indeed connected this one to I connected the I/O box to the send node, but I haven't updated it on the memory node. What an amateur! I should have didn't nicer anyway, but now it's a little bit faster as well. Amazing. Jesus. Yeah, you have to be careful about what you connect where. You have to know these. And once I received the feedback that Emeshe is not really holding your hand. Indeed, this thing does not hand your hand. This thing does not hold your hand at all. So back to where we were. A little bit of more simple post effects like tone mapping. We have motion blur, which it turns out just a simple texture effects, because this is a lens effect. We need our screen space geometry information like G buffer, and then also we can have a little bit of motion here. We can get motion sickness, and also motion blur tends to create like sharp edges. If I turn off lighting for a second, as you can see from up here, maybe, I don't know, that it can have these sharp edges. Look at the wall over there. What's my scene coming up? Mouse keyboard. So yeah, there are still sharp edges when I'm doing this. Obviously not getting speed with the translation, which is meaningful on this side. So to avoid that, avoid sharp edges, we have a special node which will kind of override our velocity layer, velocity component is for motion blur, nothing else. Is sorry, it's called Velmap extender. We will need a module, and we will need obviously yeah, I thought this one. Oh, I know, because yep, Velmap extender. This node does not require the semantics. This node requires the actual textures. So we will use the G buffer. It's a little bit older style, but and it also custom semantics. It's also semantics. And what it does, should I do resolution as well? Oh, it is faster to do resolution, so let's just expose this, and then receive the resolution as well. So now we have no sharp edges. What it does, we look at its output. So this is its velocity output. So what it does, it extends the velocity, it extends every pixel in the direction of the velocity. It does that by rendering a line basically on every pixel which has reached a certain velocity, and that will overcome the sharp edge artifact, and it helps a lot with if you're using motion blur. So let me turn the light back on. Obviously shadows won't really know. all shadows, motion that want to deactivate shadows. So here the amount defines. So here the amount defines. I'm just going like this. It defines how much of a single frame, how much the shutter is opened during the frame. It's basically, you know, it's like the 300. If I set it to 0.5, the shutter will be open half of the time of the frame. It will simulate that same thing. So if I set it to number 1, it simulates that the shutter is open during all the frames. So it will simulate a 360-degree shutter time. But that obviously will be a little bit of overdoing. You can become a little bit motion sick. So yeah, I recommend 0.6. So it won't be that. Won't be that over, and won't be too overdone. But it's still very nice. And so after motion blur, we can put depth of field on it. As you can notice, everything is blurred. I don't know why I'm knowing this much. Maybe I'm tired a little bit for some reason. I still don't know because. Anyway. So here and that's a field. Basically, okay. Still not good enough for him. Huh. I also forgot something here. Oh yes, of course, the max distance it should be, I don't know, 1000 or something, and then it should be like 10 or something. No. It's insane. Insane. Obviously, it doesn't work when it should work. That doesn't get it anymore. Oh, something more sinister going on with this as well. It's getting very, very, very annoying. As if it were completely blind. Is it not the same way as wait a second? 8 custom semantics and 8 resource semantics, so it should be good. Ah, Jesus. For fuck's sake. for some reason doesn't react to this shit. What is this EDW and why? Oh, okay, that's that one. It is in there. I wrote this code a little bit earlier. Maybe it's getting negative values. No, it doesn't. Well, anyway. What it can screw up. Seriously, this is ridiculous. At the time. Maybe this has problems. Okay, this is dumb, weird and new. Okay. Alright. This is not cool at all. The frame delay has some serious problems apparently. Okay. So that was the frame delay mod. Amazing. So now, there you go. You can have proper depth of field. Jesus. Okay. Well, oh yeah. So it can do automatic focusing, so I can fade. Wait a minute. As you can see, also there's like the blur mask, which we don't really care about at this point. As you can also see, it has a lot of bleeding, and also a little bit of too much we can change the amount, the curvature of the foreground, so we can do that. I thought I could do that. Yeah. A little bit of the width. So yeah, you have to tweak a lot around to actually make it looking good. And the gamma option is about the color. Number 2 makes and it helps. The gamma option also helps to look like more of a bokeh blur. So here, right there, here. Maybe most obviously places like here. If I set it to 1, the bokeh blur will also disappear. Actually, with 1.5, it can be pretty good already. And do not mess up the colors that much, maybe 1.65. So yeah, check on, he's still recording, amazing, and still streaming according to this thing, nice. So yeah, that was the quote-unquote simple post effects. And basically you can already create nice looking things with this bunch of nodes introduced only here. So we have a couple of honorary mentions, and that will be, first of all, the what should I mention? Yeah, that will be a little bit with spotlights. Now, spotlights also require a lot of patching, and the reason is it requires you to have the same separate spotlight buffer. Have a global reset. Global reset. Receive the camera. Yeah, also make the light move again. Look at the shadows. This is very ugly. We will attempt to fix that shortly. And if we look at, so yeah, back to spotlights, and this one just in case I can't swear because I think I did something which I shouldn't have. So yeah, this is where I don't know why I didn't know. So here, the lights are well defined. Couple of spotlights with odd light spotlight. Receive. Oh yeah, I also send out the spotlight dictionary. Cool. And added. Alright, name it. Actually, spotlight will be cool. Auto set, color, view projection. Now view. Just like that. Projection is perspective. So we have this amount of things, and then we will set a range because this is a big model to 100. same business what you had with shadows in point light. Now notice that we have here a texture ID as well. The spotlights are actually projected textures. So if I this and then find a couple of spotlights here, like shadows, let's have a sub patch, spotlights, spotlight textures. Does it have normal speed? There you go. And we have more. Cool. Oh shit, shouldn't have done that. Afterburner, come on. Nice. So, it's spotlight textures. I will create, like, what should I create? Below. Nope, not like that. Below. Oh, how this is done. Okay, with this. Let's bring you in. Okay. Bobby, come on, let it go. This is nice. Very nice. Oh, okay, nice. So you can do such things. Cool. And I will have that for a starting point. I won't demonstrate spotlight shadows because I don't think so I have time for that, but it works in a very similar manner than point lights. Now for spotlights you have to create another cooked honest node. Just copy everything and delete the shadow maps. I don't need the shadows of the spotlights here. So notice with spotlights you have to have this pin, spot texture array. This is the spotlight texture array. If you have more of them or more type of them, then you can create more. You can join them together as with everything else. Inside an array we have the light in and then the light out, and then obviously it will do things such as this. Andres wrote, David, it was impossible to watch, sorry. That's not right. It's alright, it's still going. you can join in. But other Twitch accounts work fine, just fine, so it's weird. Still going. By the way, he will keep the workshop next week. Whoop whoop. yet. So you can see some. Oh yeah, we can do this, and then we change the technique here. So I can have. So we can see that which cook tolerance node is which. So with the technique here, you can specify that the cook tolerance should do what type of light, point light, spotlight, and then yeah, we don't need this spotlight buffer, but we will need send buffer. But we will need receive node is already piling up. Spotlight buffer. Spotlight buffer. And what else? A lot of maps. That's good to have. And then we will have a different light count. So now it's 1, but you can spread it very easily. And nice, and it's cool. When we turn this back on, nothing works. And the reason why it does not work is because we have a nasty little knob which says that this cook tolerance is initial and this is not initial, so it treats textures properly. So now we want to make spotlight visible. And one way to do that actually I will turn this. Where was the initial? Oops. There you go. So turn this to initial. And we'll also make the opacity so I can see stuff. We'll turn off depth of field so I can see stuff clearly. And we should look at thing. So that is correct. Oh yeah, I'm connecting that. Maybe first if I disconnect this for a second. Should be on. Obviously it won't work. We won't change anything because we don't use shadows. So here in the texture, near plane. The far plane. Looks like it. I forgot something as well, or something is not working. So spotlight. That's the spot. It is connected. It is also connected. I can't see why it can't work. Ah. And then okay, this is absolutely not working because strength, power, strength is like 10 or something, but I don't think so. There's problems, more sinister is going on, and there's more sinister is going on, so I can demo something which is also not working. Amazing. Doesn't work, spotlights are not working, so I guess I just don't use them, which is crazy. Yes, I don't know why they are not working. I've tested them a couple of times though, so this is like bullcrap what I'm saying here. Yeah. I will have to check it, but to be honest, I don't have any mood to check them. So there we go. I think we will close this Emeshe workshop. I will upload this video because this contains some information. Pretty good. What I'm just spend wrote here. And so. Yeah, but there are a couple of topics which I haven't covered. This is like the reflections, for example. There is a screen space reflection in here, which I won't cover here because it actually takes up a day to like set up a proper scene, and then I have everything sorted. So as you can see, it's not the most stable library here, but anyway, it's not a one workshop matter problem. This is what Emeshe is about, and see you next weekend. Next weekend, this very big fella, will show us some DMX stuff, DMX fun, and. He will show us some DMX fun, and it will be amazing. That's what we tried on Christmas. By the way, what we're laughing at is that she started to eat ice cream, which I won't see any of that before I won't finish. So see, I can't have ice cream. I can't talk while I'm having ice cream. So this very guy will show us some DMX stuff, and we were trying to do that. Yeah, látják, akivel beszélek. We were trying to do that on Christmas, and then it didn't happen because either his internet or my internet was not working. But next week, I think everyone will be on an internet safe place, and we can do that. No. amazing. The mouse was stolen. And we have this bunny now instead of Emeshe. We can absolutely do this kind of stuff in Emeshe though. So we can do that. So yeah, let's just hold this image. Opening new tab. Oh, open. Oh. I-O. Yeah, next week is DMX. If someone wants to explore Emeshe more because it has some more stuff in it, which it has way more stuff in it than I could show today, then I can only encourage it. So yeah, goodbye folks, goodbye with this bunny and this thing over here, which is a thing. So yeah, bye bye.